Malaysia, we are definitely breaking up. I cannot tolerate this anymore. Why hasn't anybody told me about such a beautiful place that exists here in the heart of Pantai Chanang? Have a look at this. This is Laman Padi Langkawi, and it's basically a big theme park that teaches you all about cultivation of rice fields. So it's a rice field theme park. But guess what? I've landed here and I've realized that I'm the only person inside. The paths are silent, the rice fields are luscious green, but there's nobody here. I think someone pressed the pause button on the whole theme park and the gallery that sits in here as well. The paddy fields stretch out without a single footprint in the mud. Where is everybody? Where's all the kids running and yelling and screaming and doing things and learning about cultivation? Not here, that's for sure. Hang on a second, I think I see somebody over here working very hard amongst the rice fields. Let's go and have a chat to them and see if we can ask them for some directions. Excuse me, sir, madam. No, it's a scarecrow with a coconut head. Nobody here, just the Husmeister. So what am I actually going to learn here on my own without access to any resources or people or guides around me? Well, let's walk through Laman Padi and let's find out. Well, you're probably thinking, well, aren't you scared walking through the rice paddies on your own, and maybe there's snakes and other types of wild animals that could attack you, and who knows what can go wrong? And you know what? Yeah, I am really scared, because it's extremely daunting to be in a rice field without any guides and people around, and if something goes wrong, I'm in big trouble. And the biggest problem that I face at the moment that really scares me are the falling coconuts. Don't forget to look up on top of the trees. The coconut trees are fully loaded with coconuts. So if you're walking in Laman Padi or anywhere in Asia, anywhere with coconut trees, always look up. And if somebody says, hey, why are you nervous? Why are you looking around? Just tell them you're looking for UFOs. No, tell them you're afraid that the coconuts might fall on your head, and then we'll be in big trouble. Langkawi, what's happened to this place? When I turned up a few days ago, it was overcast and just about raining. Now it's bloody hot. It's so hot I had to take refuge under this hut, and I've got my face towel out, wiping my face down, because it is boiling hot. And the ironic thing is, it's only about 10 AM. So if it's this hot at 10 AM, what's it going to be like at lunchtime? Anyhow, maybe this is the reason why there's nobody here, and I'm the only idiot walking around in the rice field park. Oh boy, it's hot. So I found this sign that tells me that there's things happening in either direction. Left, right, this way, that way. But one that stands out to me is the Galeri paddy. So maybe we can learn something about the gallery and get to know some of the history in the area. Let's go that way. I can hear grinding, but hopefully the Galeri paddy is open. Let's go and learn something. The grinding is very real. There's some renovations happening. Surprise, surprise. All right, the guys are doing some work there. There's grinding, there's tiling happening, and this is the main entrance right here, and this is where you enter the paddy gallery from. But I did see a sign just over here that says go around the side, and hopefully it's open and we can learn something about the paddy and take something away from our tour. See, in Asia, you just need to learn to live with renovations. It's everywhere. It's happening right behind me now, but you got to circumvent your way around it all and continue doing what you need to do, because if this was Australia, we'd get frustrated and walk away and go home and say, nah, I'm not going in, or I'm not doing that. Here, it doesn't matter. Let them do their grinding over there and let us do our exploring down this way. Here are some great informational boards near the rice paddies that tell you about the 4 stages of rice harvesting. First one is the seed selection, preparation of the seeding, transplanting process, and then harvesting. 4 stages of rice harvesting. Have a look at that. People need to take their shoes off and get involved in the nitty-gritty. Go into the water with no shoes in order to be involved in the 4 stages of rice harvesting. Crazy. I couldn't do that. Wow, thank God for the air conditioning in here. It is super cool, and there's great displays on either side of me. And wait, look, here's some people that we can talk to. Laman Padi, can I get some information about the rice fields, please? No. I've been fooled again. They're only dummies, pretending to be out rice harvesting. Nobody around still. It's me and the rice paddies and the not so real people. I can't even find anyone that works here. Hello? Hello? Not a soul so far. I've been walking around for about 45 minutes in the theme park or the rice paddy fields. Now I'm in the gallery. Not a soul. Earth to Malaysia. Where is everybody? Oh well, I'm enjoying my time alone. It's better than those other places where there's an influx of people and you can't even breathe. And here's a tribute to the water buffaloes, which are the secret achievers in the cultivation of rice. If it wasn't for these guys, there probably wouldn't even be any rice, because what they do is they use them to plough the fields in order to grow the rice, and they're probably involved in maybe at least three of the 4 stages of rice cultivation. So they play a big role, these guys. They're a little bit of an underdog, a quiet achiever. Maybe we can see one in the fields, because they did tell me that there's a few of them roaming around. The traditional way of planting seedlings, rice seedlings, is out the window, totally gone. We have a supersized drone right next to me. Look how big this thing is. It is seriously the size of, what can I say, a mini minor car. And this thing is going to go up very shortly, fly over the rice fields and drop the seedlings into the water, and hopefully a few months later they will start growing. I cannot believe the size of this drone. Here are the seeds right here. They're in the middle. Right there. That's where the seeds are. And I'm sure there's some release feature, and they're evenly spread out into the fields ahead of me. This is totally unbelievable and totally goes against what I just learnt in relation to how to plant the seeds. This is technology on steroids right here. So the young gentleman behind me is controlling the drone with his remote control. It's got a big screen here and you can see everything that's happening. And look at that, it's seeding. It's actually dropping the seeds into the field, and it's going to do this whole area based on geolocation. What a world we live in. Have you ever seen a drone that size before? I haven't.
We want to do this area.
Yeah, so if we don't use the drone and we do manually, how long to do this area?
This area is like 2 days.
2 days? Yeah. And this one does in 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. We're loading the drone back up. More seeds. High productivity rate with the drone.
20 kilo like this.
Yep.
It will take like 1 or 2 hours.
1 or 2 hours.
Yeah.
But with this, maybe 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Wow.
To 20 minutes.
So is this one new technology, or is it been around for a while?
It's been around for a while.
Been around for a while. And you're engineer, are you? Or?
I just the pilot.
Okay, you're the pilot.
And the technician.
And technician. And you do other work as well, or just in the rice field?
Just in the rice field.
Just in the rice field.
For now lah.
For now.
This drone can spray like durians.
Oh yeah. Ananas?
Sawit, nanas,
yep.
Jagung.
Yep.
There are many types of crops.
And you can do spraying of chemical as well?
Chemicals.
Chemical as well, very good.
Different type of tank.
Different tank.
This for spraying.
Yep.
That's for spraying.
Ah, yeah, okay.
If spraying, it will come up from here.
Ah, yeah. So if it sprays, it shoots off from the bottom of the blade.
Spraying is with the tank.
With the tank. And it's DJI.
Yeah.
Yeah, good brand. Good brand. Okay, we go again?
Yeah.
All right, we're firing up the drone again. Watch this. It's actually like a helicopter.
Preparing to take off.
All right, stand back for safety.
Stand back at a safe distance.
Watch this.
Take off.
It's like a small helicopter. It's just taken off here and it's gone. The drone's on auto now, so it's using the geolocation coordinates in order to spread the seedlings into this field area where there's water. I'm totally wowed by this because I still thought all of this happens manually, but not so. The world has changed, my friends. It is a different world out there. So I walked out here into the fields with the hope of finding a water buffalo that I can add to my video and make it a little bit more exciting. But what I found instead was a drone the size of a mini helicopter that spreads the seeds into the fields. This is fascinating. I was totally blown away by the technology being used to seed the rice into the fields. Here I am looking for traditional methods and great techniques of how to plant rice and cultivate it. But what I found instead was a DJI drone on steroids planting the fields, and apparently saving many days of work. So does this mean that there'll be more rice cultivated quicker and more food in the world? These are the questions that are now springing to mind, which I don't have the answers to. Or does it just reduce labor-intensive work and allow people to do value-added work like control drones, go on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok? Only joking. Well, I hope that it allows us to do more value-added work and more skilled work, and possibly not just stuck out in the fields. Although I do acknowledge that if there's no fuel and there's no drones and we need to go back to traditional ways, will we still have that knowledge of how to plant rice, or will we all starve? There's a question for you to ponder on. Goodbye to the rice paddies.
This is automatic.
Automatic now.